Greetings, I'm the Board Gaming Bard, and I bring board games to life. Within every board game, there is the potential of a story. And my goal is to bring out the story within the board games. I'll go through my gameplay throughout the board game and turn that gameplay that I just did into a story. I started a blog recently. I've been placing those short stories onto my blog. Then realized that it doesn't really give you the gameplay mechanics of the game. It gives you the theme, definitely, but it doesn't give you the gameplay mechanics and how the game works. I've had people say that they're really interested in this game from my stories, but again, it doesn't really tell them what the game is about. So I'm going to give these videos along with my short stories on how these games actually work, and how to play them, and how the mechanics work within the theme. And the game that I'm going to be doing today is 8-Minute Empires Legends. This is an area control game where there is definitely a theme of you're spreading your civilization in this fantasy world. But it's more than just pushing cubes across the board. Oftentimes when we play board games, it can, you can lose the theme just by focusing solely on the mechanics. Instead of just pushing cubes around, you're pushing armies around. If you just change the terms of what you're doing. For example, in games like Dominion, it's easy, really easy, just to get down to I'm just buying cards. I'm putting these cards down so I can buy this one. Use this card so I can use this card. And you lose the theme of it. You're not just playing cards. There is a theme there. But I'm not here to talk about Dominion, but here I'm talking about 8-Minute Empire Legends. And to give you a feel of how the game works within the theme, I'm going to display the game and run through it, run through the mechanics briefly for you.
Alright, now here I have the game set up for a 2-player game. And I apologize about the holding the handheld camera. My tripod just didn't really work with trying to get the whole view of the game. So I apologize about that. I apologize if you're going to get seasick or something by me moving the camera around. But hopefully someday I'll get that fixed and get a proper tripod. But for now, I'm going to hold it by my hand and show you the game mechanics of the game and how it works. So this is a 2-player game. Everyone has these cubes which represent your armies, and these little castles to represent your cities. So you're going to be placing armies onto the board and moving them around and erecting cities. And also we have these player cards, which are optional. There are a few variants here that I'm using that are optional. Here, for example, we have the Fairy Queen and the Red Sorceress. You can play with them or not. If you want to just play as humans, you can play just as humans and not have these special abilities, which I do sometimes. It all depends on my mood, what I'm feeling like, what I feel like playing. But for today, I have the Fairy Queen and the Red Sorceress, and these are the two characters I'll be playing with. And they each give you different abilities. The Fairy Queen, for example, will give you 1 victory point if you have 3 or more forest cards. And forest cards are anything that just say forest in the title of the card. And the Red Sorceress starts with 1 extra army on the board. As you see, we all start with 4 in the starting region, which is this little city token right here. And except the Red Sorceress starts with 5. And we also start with 1 army each over here. But whenever she starts with 5 armies, and whenever she removes an army from the board, normally if someone removed, the Fairy Queen's army, it would return back to her pool. But the Red Sorceress takes it and puts it on her card, and she gains points for how many armies she has on her card. Now, excuse me, just place these there. Another few other variants I have are are also the Citadel tokens. These are optional. These just give you extra victory points for when you erect a city in this region. And these are also variants. These are abilities that are given to you when you erect a city in these areas with these tokens. You don't know what they are. They're all upside down. You can play with them face up if you want, but I prefer to have them face down because I enjoy the exploration of it. You don't know what you're getting into, what you're going to find when you go into these different regions. But you go into there, when you erect a city, you take the token, find out what it is. Could be bad, could be good. And you'll gain that for the rest of the game. Now also we have this dragon up here as well. So you gain victory points if you slay the dragon. You slay the dragon by having the 7th army move into here. So if you're the first person to move the 7th army into there, it doesn't have to be all your armies either. It could be 6 of your opponents, and you just put that 7th army in there, you've slayed the dragon. Now, if you read my short story on my blog about this game, you'll realize that I didn't go with slaying the dragon. Although slaying the dragon is perfectly thematic. It's, dragon scales can make awesome armor, and dragon teeth can make great weapons, but I used it as working with the dragon. You bargain with the dragon, and you're using the dragon to control the lands, and you gain more control with the dragon. That's the theme that I really liked, and that's what I went for, but either theme is fine. And then there's this one here is also it's the bandit. So whenever someone moves into this region, or through this region, they have to pay a copper to the bandit, which is just putting it over here to the bank. Now everyone starts with their cubes, with their armies, and their cities. And everyone starts with 12 coins. Now, to start the game, it's a blind bid. So you take coins, each one, they show what they have, whoever bids the most starts the game first. But you have to be careful how much you bid, because money is very tight in this game. I think there's only one card in the whole deck that gives you more money, and it's only 2 or 3 coppers. So if you're not careful with how you spend your money, you can be broke halfway through the game, which I've done several times. Now, the way you move and the way you place your armies on this board is by buying these cards up here. So up here I'll tell you exactly what they cost. So 0, 1, 2, and 3 coppers. So this is 0, these are 1 copper, these are 2 coppers, and this is 3 coppers. And you don't have to look at it as buying cards like I mentioned before. It's a very way to kick yourself out of a theme. But instead, this is free, so I'm going to bargain. I'm going to, make a deal with this dire ogre to help me out, to help me move some of my armies through his regions, or that type of thing. Or I'm going to bribe the cursed king, to give me recruits or something. Like that's it's all about how you word it. Now to start, alright, we've done bidding, so they're gonna do this and that. So the Fairy Queen bid 2, Red Sorceress bid 1. So the Fairy Queen is going to start out. Now, you start by buying your card, or making deals, or bargaining, however you wish to go about it. Now, she gets extra points for having forest cards. So we have a forest gnome here. So she's gonna wheel and deal 1 copper, because of the card up there that tells you 1 copper, and all these move down. So if you don't buy things, they get cheaper. And then this one flips over. Now, if you look at the card, at the bottom it tells you what you can do for this turn. So the arrow and then the armies means you can move up to 2 armies. Now you can move 1 army 2 regions, or you can move 2 armies 1. So I think she's going to move 2, 1. So she's going to take this one, go 1, 2, and place it there. She's going to head up towards there and try and get that dragon. So this goes over here and stays in front of you for the rest of the game, because up top are permanent actions you can do throughout the game, or permanent abilities that you have. Down here is 1 time only. On my turn, I did this, it's done. Now up here though stays with you for the rest of the game. This one is 3 elixirs. Now at the end of the game, whoever has the most elixirs gets extra victory points. But the other ones up here, like for example, this mana core, you can move 1 extra cube every time you do a move your army's action. You can move 1 extra army every time you do it. So at the top is something that is ongoing throughout the game. At the bottom is the 1 time only action. Now, Fairy Queen made a deal with the gnome. She moved 2 of her armies through his regions. She gained 3 elixirs from him, and that's her turn. Now it's the Red Sorceress's turn. Now, she gets extra points for taking people's armies, and you see there's one right here that allows you, the mana core allows you to take 1 opposing army. So she's going to buy this mana core. And back up there. Now, and it was 1 copper for that mana core over there. So she has to place 4 armies on the board and remove an opposing army. Now to remove an opposing army, the army has to be in the same region that you are. So she's going to place 4 of her armies. And right now we can only place our armies in this region, in the starting region where there's a city. You can only place your armies there for now. Eventually, when you erect your own city somewhere, you can start placing armies in that city. So if I eventually erected this up there, I could start placing armies up there. To place armies, you need to get a card that allows you to do it. For example, with the city picture, this card allows me to erect a city. But for now, she placed her 4 armies on the board, and she's going to remove opposing army. So she's going to remove one of the Fairy Queen's armies and place it right here to gain her control at the end of the game. Now that's her turn. She's done. Now Fairy Queen, next, again, she wants forests. There's a forest one up here, but that's expensive. That's 3 coppers, and as you can see, there's only 9 left. Each silver represents 3 coppers, and then each of the coppers represents 1. So she only has 9 left, and once there's 11 cards, each person has 11 cards, the game is done. So she still has to buy 10 more cards, and she only has 9 coppers. So she really doesn't want to push it, I think, to this early in the game. So you really have to watch your money, because again, like I said, there's only like 1 card in there that gives you money, and I think it's only 2 coppers. So right now, she's going to hopefully wait and hope that the Red Sorceress doesn't get that. And she's going to, you know what, she's going to pay, no, she's going to bargain with this ogre. You know, the ogre offered to work for her for free, so they move all these cards over. And this ogre allows her to move 2 armies. Now, she would really like to move up here, but she can't, because to move across oceans, it takes 3 movements to go across, and she only has 2 from the ogre. So she can't move up there, but she can, let's say, move there, and then, you know, bring this army up here with her. I think that's the plan. So, and then this one gives her also permanently, she gets, oh, can't really see, it gets 1 victory point for 3 coins that she has in the game. So that really makes her not want to spend this money so much as well, because for each one of these silvers, she gets a point of control. Now to be being the richest ruler. But that turn's done. Over the Red Sorceress again. She looks up here, see what's available, and she doesn't really want to build a city yet because she hasn't really moved anywhere. I guess she could build a city here, and then she start placing her armies here. And then that's the way it's easier to gain control of here. Because right now, you have to place all your armies here and then start to spread out. But you can see that she's really piled up here anyway, so she probably wants to move. So you know what? There's 4 movements for free. This Cursed King really wants to help her out. So she's going to bring the Cursed King over here, and didn't cost her a thing. Oh, another forest card for the Fairy Queen. Now, she can place 3 armies or move 4. Now, she's really getting piled up there with armies. She's going to move. She can move 4, and she's going to move 1 here, 1, and then 1, 2, 3 to move over here and start trying to claim that island over there. And this permanent one is 1 elixir from the Cursed King. But right now, the Fairy Queen has 3. So the Fairy Queen right now would gain a victory point for having the most elixirs. Now that's turn's done for the Red Sorceress. Move again on to the Fairy Queen, and that forest card is getting a little cheaper, but she still doesn't want to spend it because she gets points from the money. So actually this is actually perfect. For free, she can build a castle. Actually, it seems rather foolish now that she wouldn't have. Well, she didn't want to yet. That's right. Now she gets another elixir, but also she gets to move 3 and you see that, and build a city. So again, like I said, it takes 3 to cross ocean unless you have a card with a wing right here. Okay? For each wing you have, it's 1 less to move across the oceans. So if you have 2 cards with wings on them, then it only costs you 1. It'd be the same as moving across any other region. But we don't have any here for the Fairy Queen, so she has to pay 3. But this gives her 3, so she can move 1 across the ocean, across this little dotted line to there, and erect a city. So there, on this island to the north, she erected her city. And now she can start placing her armies there. And that's her turn. Her turn's done. And now it's the Red Sorceress again. And she's quite upset about that because she was hoping to get that so she could build this. That's what she wants to do here. She wants to erect a city here so she can easily just place people here. Excuse me. But then again, it might be good to erect one here because there's more spaces over here than there is here. Yeah, would have been smarter to put it there, I think. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about strategy. I'm here to talk about the theme. And this one's going to cost her 2, which, I mean, wouldn't be too bad for her. This money doesn't matter to her at the end of the game, so she's gonna pay the 2 to get this city, the Mausoleum. Now it's the Cursed Mausoleum, and she has 2 cursed cards. Eventually, there will be a card coming out that will give you points for having the cursed card, so she's gonna want to get that. And I'll leave back here. Now this allows her to erect a city, and every time she moves armies, she gets to move 1 more. So she gets to move 1 more every time she moves armies. So she's going to erect a city. Oops. Right over here. That way now she can place her armies there and spread out. She was going to plan to do it here, but there's a lot more regions here to control. See, if she controls all these regions, she'll get a point for this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And actually an extra point for this one because it has a citadel in it. She's only getting 3 for here, but she's still going to try and control it. Because right now she controls this whole island because she has... Actually, she doesn't. She doesn't control anything yet. She has to have 1 more army here to control this region to control this island. But anyway, that's enough. That gives you a general idea of how the game works, and and how the theme works throughout the game. And if you want to read my little short story about my gameplay that I had through the game, you can go to my blog at boardgamingbard.wordpress.com.
So that was 8-Minute Empire Legends. It is the sequel to the first game in this called 8-Minute Empire. It's the fantasy version of it. To be honest, I've never played the first one. I saw this one, I saw it was fantasy, and so I got this one. And I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's a really quick game as well. I can set up and tear this down in 20-30 minutes. Really quick, but it feels so much bigger. And the story ideas in here are just endless, and they're all epics. If you read the story I did, it feels like an epic tale, and I tried to condense it down because there's a lot going on in territory control, right? And so essentially things are going on for decades or centuries throughout the game, erecting cities and expanding throughout these lands, and I pushed it down to a short story. So it feels really big, and the game does feel really, really big. Although it is in a really small box and it plays really quick. But it's a beautiful game. I hope this video gave you a general idea of the game mechanics of the game, how the game works, and if you read my story you can really get an idea of the theme. So this has been 8-Minute Empire Legends.